Welcome. This is the introduction to robotics using the Virtual Robotic Toolkit as well as the EV3 Mindstorm programming software. The Virtual Robotics Toolkit can be downloaded and with a 16-day free trial with the email link that I sent out previously rather. The first thing we want to do is we want to look at the EV3 programming software. This is bundled with the Virtual Robotics Toolkit. So we want to make sure that this is open and active before we get into the simulation. So let's open this. And here we have the programming interface. This is a block programming software, which we will talk about in a moment. Now that this is open, now let's open our Virtual Robotics Toolkit. Going to the Cleanup Challenge board. Let's hit OK. Select No. Now it's going to load. So here we have the virtual EV3 robot, which is supplied with this simulation. Every simulation map provides its own robot. In the future, we'll be able to design our own robot and upload it into these simulated maps. I'm using the right mouse button to swing around, right mouse and control to pan, and the wheel to zoom. This white piece here is the interface and the brain of the robot. This we will call the brick. On the brick, you'll notice that there are letters A, B, C, and D. These are for the motors. This is motor control. So here we have a large motor, which is connected to an axle and a wheel. So this is the right wheel, and you have one on the left. So now you have two motors. These motors are plugged into B and C, which we will maintain throughout this program. On the rear of the brick, you have numbers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are for the sensors. This robot currently has a gyroscope, 2 light sensors, and an ultrasonic sensor. And over on the left, upper left-hand side, is your interface for the brick. This is what you actually see in real life, and you can manipulate this as if it is in the real world. You can move your mouse up here to bring down the options. However, I'm going to hit F12, which brings up an advanced dialog box. So I'm going to manipulate the virtual space to get an overview of the robot. Now here you have the stop simulation button, and you have the play simulation or start simulation button. So let's start the simulation. On the lower left-hand corner, you will see what popped up was W, A, S, and D. Those are the controls for the robot. W to go forward, A left, D right, S backwards. So I've already started the simulation. Now I can just use the control keys to move the robot around. And you can run into the tower and back up. I can play and stop the simulation resets the robot. I can change my view to get different angles on the robot. Play the simulation. Stop resets. Now, if I start the simulation and then adjust my view, and stop the simulation, it'll reset back to the previously determined view. So you need to find the view you want, then start the simulation, It'll reset back to where you want. So we're going to turn on the brick and get into the programming software. So here we have the programming interface. You have the play button. We're going to move the robot forward. So I'm going to select a move tank block. With this move tank block, all I do is connect it. If I disconnect the move tank block, it gets grayed out and therefore is not going to be run in the program. So you could have a couple here if you wanted, instead of selecting from below. So we're going to connect. Now with the move tank block, there are different options in order to operate the motors. So I can have the motors off, on for seconds, on for degrees, or on for rotations. We're going to select on for seconds. If you notice B plus C, these are the ports that the motors are connected to. B is the left motor, C is the right. These control the left and right wheels. So here's the power. How much power do I want to apply to each wheel? The range goes from 0 to 100. So here we'll choose 50 in the left, 50 in the right. We'll go for 3 seconds. On the lower right hand side, you see EV3 Educator vehicle. We want to left click that and connect virtually to that robot. You'll need that to communicate. And this is how you would do it in the real world as well. You would download to your real life robot. So the software interface is the same. The trick that you can do here is we can start the simulation. Just hit the play button. So there, the robot moved for 3 seconds. So let's reset the simulation. Now let's try the power at 100 in the left, 100 in the right. So we're going to go for 100% power at 3 seconds. What do we think is going to happen? Went right off. Same amount of time, but double the power. So we went further. Now let's lower the power to 20%. Start the simulation. Start. By decreasing the power, we're not going to go as far. So as you can see, there's a relationship between power, distance, and time. So let's go back to 50. Let's reset the simulation. Go forward. And we end up right about here. Now that we've learned how to go forward, let's learn how to go backwards. So I'll take the move tank block, another one, just connect it up. We have ports B and C. These can be changed, but we're going to leave them the same because that's what we have. Now here, on the first move tank block, we have positive numbers because we are moving forward. The motors are not installed backwards, so be careful of that. This is not a constant. In this situation, on this particular robot, positive 50 and positive 50 means the robot is moving forward at 50% power. So if we move forward at a positive 50, we now want to move backwards. So we'll put a negative 50. However, we also want to make sure that we're on for seconds. Put 3 seconds there. So let's stop the simulation. Start the simulation. And that's it. We have now learned how to move the robot forward and backwards. Thank you.